Joshua Gibson, December 21, 1911 to January 20, 1947, was an American baseball catcher primarily in the Negro Leagues. Baseball historians consider Gibson among the best power hitters and catchers in baseball history. In 1972, he became the second Negro League player to be inducted in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Gibson played for the Homestead Grays from 1930 to 1931, moved to the Pittsburgh Crawfords from 1932 to 1936, and returned to the Grays from 1937 to 1939 and 1942 to 1946. In 1937, he played for Ciudad Trujillo in Trujillo's Dominican League, and from 1940 to 1941, he played in the Mexican League for Azules de Veracruz. Gibson served as the first manager of the Cangrejeros de Santurce, one of the most historic franchises of the Puerto Rico Baseball League. Gibson was known as a spectacular power hitter who, by some accounts, hit close to 800 career home runs. In the Negro League statistical records, his career HR total was 166. He was known as the Black Babe Ruth. In fact, some fans at the time who saw both Ruth and Gibson play called Ruth the White Josh Gibson. Gibson never played in the major leagues because of the unwritten gentleman's agreement that prevented non-white players from participating. He stood 6 feet 1 in, 1.85 meters, and weighed 210 pounds, 95 kilograms, at the peak of his career. He was the first player since Oscar Charleston to win consecutive batting triple crowns, leading the league in home runs, runs batted in, batting average, and no batter has achieved the feat since. On December 16, 2020, Major League Baseball announced that it will recognize Negro League records, giving Gibson the second highest single-season Major League batting average at .466, 1943. Gibson was born in Buena Vista, Georgia, to Mark and Nancy Woodlock Gibson, and had a younger brother, fellow Negro Leaguer Jerry, and sister. In 1923, Gibson moved to Pittsburgh, and his father found work at the Carnegie, Illinois Steel Company. Entering 6th grade in Pittsburgh, Gibson prepared to become an electrician, attending Allegheny Pre-Vocational School and Conroy Pre-Vocational School. His first experience playing baseball for an organized team came at age 16 when he played third base for an amateur team sponsored by Jimble's department store, where he found work as an elevator operator. Shortly thereafter, he was recruited by the Pittsburgh Crawfords, which in 1928 were still a semi-professional team. The Crawfords, controlled by Gus Greenlee, were the top black semi-professional team in the Pittsburgh area and would advance to fully professional, major Negro League status by 1931. In 1928, Gibson met Helen Mason, whom he married on March 7, 1929. When not playing baseball, Gibson continued to work at Jimble's after he had given up on his plans to become an electrician to pursue a baseball career. In the summer of 1930, the 18-year-old Gibson was picked up by the Memphis Red Sox for a game in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Despite going 2 for 4, Red Sox manager Candy Jim Taylor was not impressed by Gibson and said afterward that he would never be a catcher. He was then recruited by Cumberland Posey, owner of the Homestead Grays, which were the preeminent Negro League team in Pittsburgh. Gibson debuted with the Grays on July 31, 1930. On August 11, Gibson's wife, pregnant with twins, went into premature labor and died while giving birth to a twin son, Josh Gibson Jr., and daughter, Helen, named after her mother. Helen's parents raised the children. The Negro Leagues generally found it more profitable to schedule relatively few league games and allow the teams to earn extra money through barnstorming against semi-professional and other non-league teams. Thus, it is important to distinguish between records against all competition and records in league games only. For example, against all levels of competition, Gibson hit 69 home runs in 1934. The same year, in 52 league games, he hit 11 home runs.